recovery warriors. I hope you guys are having a great day. We are back on YouTube. I've been off and on, but we're going to start doing YouTube videos again. I did a poll on my Instagram and you said you guys would love to see YouTube videos, so we are starting to do YouTube videos again. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about a few things that I've learned in eating disorder recovery. In addition to that, you guys have asked how I started my journey in recovery. So my initial journey started by my people around me making me go to the doctor. Honestly, I didn't start recovery willingly. I was just taken to the doctor because I was struggling and it was getting pretty bad. And so yeah, I went to the doctor, but my real recovery started when I went all in and decided I was actually going to try and stop resisting. So my journey kind of started where I wasn't even trying and I was kind of like resisting, and like I was just not putting into practice the things that the doctors were saying. I was sneaking restrictive behaviors and stuff. So I feel like my journey started officially when I decided I was going to try, and that I was going to listen to the doctors and I was going to go all in no matter how scary it was. So I kind of feel like that's where my journey started. And so my journey, I don't know, I think I started having the disordered behaviors around, I think it got really pretty bad around 15. When I was 12, I actually started dieting, but it wasn't like a super serious problem at that point. I feel like 15, it started to get really bad, and the disordered, started to come more around, because dieting in general is just really bad, but the disordered eating started really kicking in really badly around probably 15. And that's kind of when the purging started and all of that started. And then around probably mid-16 is when I had to go in for treatment because it just got pretty bad, and my family around me were getting really concerned, and so they took me to the doctor. So my initial journey didn't really start willingly, but then I eventually realized that I wasn't going to get anywhere and that I was actually really unhappy. Being stuck in those eating disorder rituals, I realized how unhappy I was. And that's when I started to try in recovery, and that's when I saw the most progress, is when I committed and realized, okay, I'm going to listen to the doctors, I'm going to stop sneaking restrictive behaviors, and I'm going to actually commit and try. And then I saw a lot of progress. And from then on, I have just been on a journey. I think it's been almost been 1.5 years, I would say, since real recovery started. So that's pretty exciting. And I'm doing really great, guys. I'm progressing. I do have rough days, but the journey's going pretty good, and I'm getting closer and closer to full freedom every day. Alright, guys, so now on to the things that I've learned in recovery. Number one, I would say that all hunger should be honored. And so like mental and physical hunger. And in the beginning, when my physical hunger cues weren't really present, I definitely relied heavily on a meal plan and mental hunger cues. Now that my physical hunger cues are coming back, I do still rely on mental hunger cues, guys. Those don't just go away. You still need to honor your mental hunger cues when your physical hunger cues are coming back. But mental hunger cues are just as valid as physical hunger cues and should be honored the same as physical hunger. The next one I feel so strongly about is cravings are hunger. Cravings are hunger cues. They are a form of mental hunger, and cravings should be honored the same as physical hunger because they are a hunger cue. And I've been discovering that and experimenting with that, and honestly I feel like cravings are really important to honor, because if you're not honoring your cravings, it's kind of really a form of restriction. And so cravings should be honored just the same as physical hunger. So cravings are a form of hunger and should be honored. The next one I would say is that extreme hunger doesn't last forever. When I was experiencing extreme hunger, I actually didn't realize that I was experiencing it, and I didn't actually know what it was. But once your mind and body realize that they won't be restricted anymore, the extreme hunger will slow down. I know that it feels like it's not going to, but it will. Once your body and mind realize that it's not going to be restricted again and can put their trust in you again, it will start to slow down. Ride it, honor it, and it will all be okay, I promise. it was a hard experience, and I didn't really have a name for it until after I'd experienced it. And now I realize what it was. It was extreme hunger. This can occur in extreme physical hunger or extreme mental hunger, and both are valid and should be honored. Extreme hunger should be honored. And once your body and your mind realize that it won't be restricted again, it will start to balance out in extreme hunger. For my next one, I would say that if your mind or the ED voice says, I shouldn't, you definitely should. If it's scary, challenge it. I also want to say that even if the voice doesn't say that it's scary and that you're totally fine with it, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't challenge and eat it. It's just know that if there is that I shouldn't, you definitely should. Like, I've had multiple experiences where my dad will ask if I want something. I'll be like, I shouldn't. And he'd be like, okay, you're having it. And I'm like, but then I'm like, yes, because it actually does work. It does work. It reinforces that there is no I shouldn't, and there's I should. You can. You're allowed to. And yeah, so that, honestly, that method really works. And I didn't, at first I was like, no, but then now I'm like, that, okay, fine. Because he'll be like, I'll say I shouldn't, and he'll be like, you're doing it now, because it's just to reinforce. It's to reinforce that there isn't an I shouldn't, because whenever I say I shouldn't, I really do want it. And I'm like, I shouldn't. I'm just trying to convince myself that I shouldn't. So I do it anyway. So if it's scary, challenge it, because if you don't challenge it, it won't change. It won't stop being scary. And even if things aren't scary, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be eating them. You should still be eating them, right? But just, if it's scary, challenge it. And if the voice says I shouldn't, you should do it. So just remember that, and I feel like it's really important to remember. The next one I feel very passionately about. Your body can't always look the same. This is something that I've learned, and my body can't look the same as it did when I was 10. My body can't look the same as it did when I was 13. My body can't look the same as it did when I was 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm still 17, by the way. But it will not always look the same. And the same goes through adulthood. Your body won't look the same when you were 21 versus when you're 23, 24, 25, 26, 30, 40. Your body's going to be changing throughout your life, and that's 100% normal and natural, and it's okay. You cannot look the same all throughout your teenage years. You cannot look all the same throughout your adult years. Your body will change, and that's completely normal. My body's constantly changing, and I just have to ride it and realize that it's natural. And that's something that I've learned in recovery, and it was a really hard thing to learn because I was always trying to keep my body the same. But I can't do that. That's not how bodies work. Bodies are supposed to change, fluctuate, develop, and grow. It's a natural part of life, and your body's just doing its natural thing. Trying to restrict it and stop it from doing that is going against the natural flow of things, and you just really should let your body be its natural and unforced self. This next one took me a bit to realize, but the voice, the negative voice telling you those things in your head is not you. It's the eating disorder. So the I shouldn't, or the don't eat this, or don't, you're not allowed to have that. That's not you. That's your eating disorder. And also the anger and frustration that sometimes comes along with it. And like, I'm not proud of it, but there was a lot of lashing out and anger towards people I love when I was really in the depths of the eating disorder. And I was really cranky. And I'm not proud of it, but I know that it wasn't me. I've apologized for it, but I'm not going to hold on to it because I know it wasn't me. It was the eating disorder. And the people that I love are aware of that. And I've made amends, and I just differentiate between the eating disorder and myself, and know that that voice in my head and that the voices saying those negative things isn't you, it's the eating disorder. I feel like this was something that I feel like is really important that I learned, because I was always beating myself up for lashing out, and I was always frustrated because I was like, what is this voice saying these things to me, like that I'm overweight, or that I look ugly, or that I shouldn't be eating that, or I'm so bad, I should feel so guilty. The guilt and all that is the eating disorder. It's not you, it's the eating disorder. And I feel like a lot of progress came when I differentiated between myself and the eating disorder, because you are not your eating disorder. Your eating disorder is not your identity, and I feel like that a lot of progress, and positive progress, mind you, came when I differentiated between the eating disorder and myself. This next one kind of goes along with some of the ones at the beginning. your hunger cues will return. It takes a different amount of time for everybody, and just because yours come back faster or slower, that doesn't determine the validity of your eating disorder. Your eating disorder and your struggle is always valid. But when the physical hunger cues come back, that doesn't mean you should stop honoring your mental hunger. Your mental hunger should be honored as well as your physical hunger. I feel like that was something I really struggled with, was because I felt like I couldn't honor my mental hunger because my physical hunger cues were back. But that's not true. So when your physical hunger cues come back, you still need to honor your mental hunger, and that includes cravings, guys. Because remember, cravings are a form of mental hunger and should be honored just like physical hunger. So remember that hunger cues will come back, physical hunger cues, but mental hunger cues should still be honored even when your physical hunger cues come back. This next one, I've kind of heard that a lot of people struggle with this. Let's get this out in the open before we talk about this, though. You don't have to be underweight to have an eating disorder. Eating disorders affect people of all sizes, shapes, and genders. So just because you're not underweight doesn't mean you don't have an eating disorder, okay? But once you are weight restored, if you have to weight restore, once you're weight restored, that doesn't mean you can't honor cravings and mental hunger and physical hunger and all that. You still need to eat and still are allowed to eat things that you want. You are always unconditionally allowed to eat whatever you want, no matter what, okay? Okay? Before, during, and after recovery, you're allowed to eat whatever you want. And yeah. And another point to that is you are allowed to gain weight after you're weight restored. Just because you are medically weight restored doesn't mean that your body is at the point where it is comfortable, because everybody's body will be comfortable at different places, and that comfort place will change throughout your life. So you're allowed to gain weight. Gaining weight is not a bad thing. It's a beautiful and natural thing that shouldn't be criticized. So yeah. These are just a few of the many things that I've learned throughout recovery. Recovery has been such a learning process. It's been such a learning process, such a journey, and I still have so many things to learn. And I've learned so many things, and I'm very grateful for the things that I have learned. I'm grateful for the progress that I've made because of recovery. And I'm proud of the past me who fought so hard to get to where I am today and who learned all those things, because without the struggle, without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for her. And yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to be back to be making YouTube videos. I'm probably going to be posting like one YouTube video a week. Keep it just on the schedule of one per week because I am pretty busy. Please know that you're always valid and that your struggle is valid. And I love you guys so much. Keep kicking eating disorder butt, guys. And remember, you are strong, amazing, and you can do this. Bye, guys.